Hello, hello, patrons. How are you doing today? Today, we are starting a little warm-up for next month's focus, which is going to be walking bass lines. This technique and this exercise we're about to look at is going to really come in handy for our next bass line, which is going to be walking bass transcription. And I even specialized this exercise for that bass line. It'll be in the exact same key as the transcription. And we'll be talking about walking bass a lot in the upcoming videos. We haven't really touched it yet, and it's a really important aspect of bluegrass playing and country and blues, jazz. I mean, like tons of different American music focused on that walking bass. So today's exercise is, in essence, very simple. We are looking at the arpeggios of the C major scale. And what I mean when I say arpeggio, for those of you that don't know, is the root, third, and fifth of each chord in the scale. For instance, C major, root is C, third is E, and fifth is G. And we're also going to add one extra note to each of these arpeggios. For all the major chords, we're going to add the sixth note. So C6 is the name of this arpeggio, and that sixth note is the A on the G string. Then we're going to come all the way up to that top C, back down to the 6, A, 5, G, 3, E, and 1, C. So that's the pattern, and we'll be going through every chord in the C major scale and applying that. For the minor chords, we're going to do something a little bit differently. Instead of the 6th note for the minor chords, we're going to use the 7, which will turn it into a minor 7 chord. For instance, D minor 7. So everyone knows D minor. Got your D chord, D note, F note, A, that's 1, 3, and 5. C is the 7 note. And then up top to that D. Back down. And it's important that we have this extra note because of the rhythm of the walking bass part. Each note is one of the beats of the measure. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know? Little country shuffle there for a Brooklyn boy. So that's the exercise, and we're just going to go through every chord in that scale. We'll just take it one chord at a time, and then I'll play the whole thing for you at the end. So we already got C and D. Just to review, though. C, E, G, A, C, A, G, E, C. All right? D, D, F, A, C, D, C, A, F, D. And what we're actually going to do in the exercise is we're not going to play that very final low root. So it's going to sound like this. Da is our next note, obviously an E, but instead of going to this E on the D string, we're going to jump all the way down to that open E string. The goal of this exercise is that we're staying in the lower register of the bass. So the second we're able to play that low E, we'll jump down to it. And so, whether you're in C major or any other key, when you get to a chord that starts on an E or even starts on that F, that's when you want to jump down to the low part of the bass. So it'll sound like this. A little bit weird, but we're continuing the pattern in the lower octave now. So E. E in C is a minor chord. E minor, which means we're going to add that 7 note, E minor 7. E, G, B, D, Then going to F. F's a major chord, so we got F6, F, A, C, D, F, D, C, A. G, it's our 5 chord. That's another major chord. So G6, fly like a G6, for those of you that know the reference. We got G, B, D, E, G, E, D, B. A is our 6 chord. So that's a little confusing. A is the 6 minor chord. So A minor 7. A, C, E, G, A, G, E, C. And then we get to our weird chord. The one that no one quite likes or quite understands, but is kind of fun. On the B, that's the 7th step of the scale, which means it'll be a diminished chord. For those of you who don't know what diminished means, that's when the 5th note, the 5 note, is lowered a half step. So the distance between the 1 and the 5 is a diminished 5th, hence diminished chord. Pretty ugly sound, but it's a lot of tension in it, and it resolves really nicely to the 1 chord. So on the diminished chords, we'll be adding the 7 note as well, which means it'll be a B half diminished chord. A little bit confusing, but a B diminished chord with that 7 note. All you have to worry about for now. B, D, F, A, B, A, F, D, back to C. And then we're going to do a little turnaround. C, A, G, A, C. So that's the whole exercise. Before you start playing it all the way through, just go through each of those chords I just mentioned. Use the slowdown tool available to you on the toolbar. You can slow it down to 50% or 70%, or just repeat each chord over and over if you just want to learn it by ear and by hand position. And I'll play the whole thing again now so you can hear it all in context. So here's the walking arpeggios in C major. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and quickly just going over the hand positions here. Remember, we're thinking about our positions in half position, which means your first finger's on the B flat on the A string, for example. And then first position, which means your first finger's on the B. And those are pretty much the 2 positions we're using, at least for this exercise. So maybe I'll go through it and just talk about those hand positions as I play it. So we're starting in first position on that C chord. Okay, there's a couple, we're jumping up to some of those high notes, but for the most part, it's first position. D's the same thing, with big jumps. When you're going up to get that high D, shift with your first finger. So it'll be open, second finger on the left hand, first finger on the left hand, shifting to that C with the first finger, and then fourth finger on the D. Then on the way down, you go 4, 1, 2. So you're shifting up with the first finger and down with the fourth. And then when you get to that low E chord, we're in half position. Staying there for F. And for G. Now we're going to go first position for A. And then same thing on the B. Oh, that one's ugly. And end it off in first. So that's the whole exercise. And I'll play it one more time because it's so darn fun. And you can get up and do some dancing if you want with it. I've never heard a song with this particular chord progression, but doesn't mean you can't write it if you're interested in doing so. And yeah, you can try this in different keys. If you're feeling adventurous, transpose it to any key. Same thing applies when you get to a chord where you can start playing the root note on that E or the F. Pretty much every scale would have a chord starting on E or F. That's when you want to jump down to stay in that bass kind of range of the instrument. So here's the walking bass arpeggios, and have fun with this one this week, folks. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Have a good one, everyone.